The meeting will be conducted electronically and will be broadcast on CTN cable channel 16, AT&T channel 99, and online at a2gov.org/watchctn. Aaron, will you do the roll call?
Yes. Commissioner Berkowitz?
Present.
In Ann Arbor or elsewhere?
All right, in Ann Arbor.
Thank you. Commissioner Brown will be absent today. Commissioner Colvin Garcia? Haven't seen her yet. Councilmember Cornell?
Here in Ann Arbor.
Thank you. Chair Curtis?
Here, Ann Arbor.
Thank you. Commissioner Dale?
Here in Ann Arbor.
Thank you. Vice Chair Graham? Yep. Commissioner Hans? Commissioner Kothari?
Here in Ann Arbor.
Thank you. Councilmember Malik?
Here, calling as a passenger in a car on Highway 23, about 5 minutes from home. Thank you.
Not sure how to record that, but thank you. Commissioner Mazlumian. I have not seen him yet. He's our other new member. Hopefully he's not having a technical difficulty. Commissioner Mitchell.
Here in Ann Arbor.
Thank you. Commissioner Nedrich. Mentioned she might be late. Commissioner Overpeck is coming in now. I'll give him a second. Commissioner Smith.
Here in Ann Arbor.
Thank you. And Commissioner Overpeck.
Here in Ann Arbor.
Thank you. And that is a quorum.
Okay, fantastic. Does anybody want to make changes to the agenda? Is there a motion to approve the agenda? One from Peck. Is there a second to approve the agenda? Okay. All in favor, raise your hand. Looks good. Okay. Does anybody want to make changes to last month's meeting minutes? Is there a motion to approve the meeting minutes? From Commissioner Dale, is there a second? There we go. And is okay, let's have a vote to approve the meeting minutes. For everybody that gets to vote. Yep, that looks good. Everyone except Malika, because she wasn't here, so she should abstain anyway. Should be correct. So next is public comment. We allow 3 minutes per speaker. We don't respond in the moment the speakers, but we do appreciate you taking the time to comment. Please call 877-853-5247 or 888-788-0099. Enter meeting ID 988-7619-2402. To raise your hand, press 9. To unmute, press *6. City staff will select callers based on their phone number. Aaron, do we have any callers yet?
I do not see anybody. Nope.
Okay, why don't we go back and do introductions? It looks like we're a little stable for membership because we had that on the agenda. So I'll go first. I think just everybody go through as opposed to just our new commissioner and just introduce yourself so they all know, they know what's going on. Where a lot of us are new to each other anyway. My name is Brooks Curtis. I'm chair of the Sustainability Commission. I was chair of the Environmental Commission. I've been doing commissions for about 3.5 years or so now. I retired from General Motors about 4 years ago. I was worked in manufacturing engineering as a manager designing conveyor systems, running construction projects, things like that. So right now I spend most of my time volunteering in nature areas around the area for city NAP and county NAP. So it takes most of my time. Who would like to go next?
I'm happy to do it. I'm Jonathan Overpeck. I go by Peck, despite what it says underneath my picture. And I'm the Dean of the School for Environment and Sustainability at the University of Michigan. I'm a climate scientist. I started out briefly on the Environmental Commission, went to the Energy Commission, and now the Sustainability Commission. I work on both climate impacts, physical basis of climate change, and climate solutions.
I'm happy to
Okay.
hop in. Oh, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. I'm Rita Mitchell. I have been on on a commission, first the Environmental Commission, now this, since 2020. I am also a park steward and have volunteered with NAP. And I retired from the University of Michigan as a health data analyst, and have done volunteer work since then. This is one of many.
I'll hop in. I'm Anya Dale. I have been with the Environmental Sustainability Commission through a couple of different stints. So for a few years, I think this is technically my third term if you combine those, and skip gaps in some of that service. I work in sustainability at U of M, though I'm not wearing that hat here. I have a background in ecology and urban planning and lots of volunteering for the community. Excited to be part of this group.
We'll hop in here. Hey everyone, and good to virtually meet those of you I haven't met yet. Mike Berkowitz here. I use he, him pronouns. I was formerly on the Energy Commission before we became the merged with the Environmental Commission. So I started that in 2022. So this is my second term. I'm an A20 ambassador. That used to volunteer on the Bryant Neighborhood Decarbonization Project. And my day job, I work for a nonprofit called Elevate. We design and implement building decarbonization programs and projects, and do workforce training connected with that. I'm the policy director, so I do advocacy at the state level. And previously I worked for the Sierra Club on their Beyond Coal campaign, so did a lot of work with DCE and Consumers Energy and the Public Service Commission.
Who would like to go next?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Hopefully you can hear me. Okay, cool. I'm Noah Levin. I live on the west side of Ann Arbor. I am an environmental attorney, and I have previously done work with air quality, both indoor, like mold contamination, as well as outdoor, mostly emissions from stationary sources. I was previously a student in what's now known as SEAS. It was SNRE back then. And welcome new people to the commission.
I can go. I'm Jen, and I am one of the two council liaisons to sustainability. I previously served on the Environmental Commission. Prior to being elected, I too was an A20 ambassador, focused on circular economy, especially the returnable containers initiative that was piloted and kind of sputtered out during COVID, but we're looking to get going again. I'm really excited about that work, primarily because one of my other hats is on the executive committee of the Main Street Area Association. So the downtown, a lot of them are hospitality businesses, but our Downtown Business Association. I've also been on the board of the Ecology Center, a national nonprofit that's headquartered here in Ann Arbor for the last, I'm going on 13 years now. So I've been passionate about and supportive of this work for a long time. And in my day job, I am the executive director of the Ann Arbor Arts Center. And welcome, Malika. I'm excited to work with you.
Olivia, would you like to go?
Yes. Hello, I'm Olivia Smith. This is my second year on the commission. I started on the Environmental Commission, and now the Sustainability Commission. I'm a master's student at SEAS, getting my master's in environmental policy and planning, and I also work in environmental remediation and mitigation and some brownfield projects. And I am co-chair of the Returnable Containers Work Group and excited to get to work.
I can introduce myself real quick. My name's Erin Donnelly. I'm the Environmental Services Manager for the City of Ann Arbor, and I'm the staff liaison to the Sustainability Commission. Yeah, Malika, we're really excited to have you.
Councilmember Malik, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. Sorry, I'm literally just pulling into the driveway now, but my name is John Malik. I'm one of the council liaisons to the Sustainability Commission. Prior to this, I was on both the Sustainability and the Energy Commission simultaneously as the council liaison for both. I'm also relatively new to City Council. I just completed what would be my first full year of my 4-year term. I represent Ward 2 and live on the east side of the city. For my day job, I work for the Michigan Department of Agriculture, where I'm the policy director covering a range of topics for the department, but including a lot of the climate initiatives. So I'm happy to be here and happy to have new members on board with us. Thanks.
And Malachi, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Malika, and I guess my background is in environmental engineering. I did my undergrad and my master's in environmental engineering, and I used to do research on residential solar adoption. But now I'm a third-year PhD student at SEAS, and now my research is on actually the Bryant neighborhood and how they deal with long-duration power outages and how we can better design energy systems to actually suit their needs. I'm a lifelong Ann Arbor resident, and I'm really excited and happy for this opportunity. Thank you.
Okay, I think we've got everybody that's here. So I think next is the presentation Introduction to the Sesame Solar Unit by Bryce.
Awesome. Thanks all. Just give me 1 second to share my screen. Can you all just give me a thumbs up if you're seeing the presentation? Great, wonderful. Well, first off, I wanted to thank the Sustainability Commission for the invitation to speak. And, after the introductions, your just commitment to public service. I think it's really unique in Ann Arbor that we have such commitment to public service. So I just wanted to express that ahead of time. And then for those who don't know me, my name is Bryce Frolick. I do work for the Office of Sustainability Innovations at the City of Ann Arbor. I use he, him pronouns. And my title is Community Resilience Specialist, which resilience can mean a lot of things to different people, but I support a myriad of different resilience programming at OSI. So that includes facilitating the A20 Ambassador Program. It's great to hear that we have A20 ambassadors on this commission. I also support some of our resilience hubs on various sustainability and decarbonization efforts and efficiency projects and other local or even hyper-local local resilience initiatives. So today I have a goal for a presentation for this commission, and I hope these objectives are met by the end of the presentation. So one, it's to provide an introduction to one of the city's newest assets that is under the OSI umbrella. I want to give you all and establish a timeline of the unit's short history with us and actions staff taken. I want to review potential use cases for the unit, and what's exciting, and we're in the process of planning, is provide a possible outlook for what 2026 looks like and has in store for Ann Arbor's Sesame Solar Unit as well. And I just want to kind of level set, if there are any technical questions that cannot be answered tonight, I will follow up with our vendor, Sesame Solar, and report back to Joe and Aaron with the answers to the commission. And we should be able to answer the questions tonight, but I know we have our partners that are close to Jackson Mission that could probably, if there's questions around technical specs, power supply, I do just want to say there probably going to be a lot of context applied to those questions, but happy to also take back those to our vendors and get answers to you as well. So I kind of want to start with a high-level preview of Ann Arbor Sesame Solar Unit, which you can see on the screen. It's a triaxle trailer that is transported using an appropriately rated vehicle because this thing is heavy. So the unit is capable of independently operating from the grid and would never need to hook up to the grid unless the unit wanted to be charged via a grid or plug hookup. So this unit runs completely on renewable energies. The unit has like an 8 kilowatt solar array and a 52.8 kilowatt hour solar battery system. And in addition to that, also has a hydrogen fuel system that allows the unit to generate power to charge the unit's battery at any point period of the day. So that's regardless of ability to generate solar. So for example, if it is a overcast day, there is an energy production system on board to this unit that can produce and charge power. So whether it's we're pulling a lot of draw from the unit through usage, we're able to utilize hydrogen fuel cell system to power the unit. So the potential for 24-hour power generation can be supported by the hydrogen fuel cell system. And I also think it's important to note that the unit was purchased by using funds provided by the Community Climate Action Millage to be able to bring this into our community. And I also want to apologize, I'm about to explain something you all are already familiar with, but I think for viewers, breaking down a distinction between nanogrids versus microgrids is helpful for us talking about the unit. So while both nanogrids and microgrids are decentralized energy systems, meaning to be able to operate independently from the grid, the key difference between them are their scale, their sizing, it can be their physical coverage area as well. So nanogrids typically serve a single building or load and can be portable. So that is what our unit is, a nanogrid. And then there's also a microgrid, to not be confused with it, which usually covers a larger area, sometimes powering things like entire neighborhoods. It could be powering campuses, and usually involve a little bit more complex control systems and interconnections to the building and grid in which they power and receive power from. And one thing that I did want to note, a communication point that I think is important as we talk about the unit, as ambassadors or commissioners, is that the unit is not a mobile resilience hub. While the unit has some like overlapping core components with Resilience Hub, the unit is not a brick and mortar location that is performing critical services year round and every day and is trusted by community members. So I think that's just an important distinction to make when we talk about the Sesame Solar Unit. Okay, so for this slide, I really wanted to give you a little bit of technical specs. You can break down the size of the unit and just give a little bit of preface for how we utilize the unit and transport the unit in Ann Arbor. So this unit has a GVWR of 14,000 pounds, which essentially means for us is that a person who's going to drive this unit requires a commercial driver's license to transport. So no one in the Office of Sustainability currently has one. So we utilize our partners in places like fire, public works to be able to help transport the unit. And battery life, we can see here that the battery storage has around 52.8 kilowatt hours. I really want to say that battery life depends on usage and context. So we can't do back of the napkin math very easily and say that this will be able to power a building or power a car for X amount of time, because it may depend on temperature outside. It may depend on how much draw the electrical components within the unit are utilizing, as well as, like what other outward components or outlets are being used on the unit as well. And the unit, what I want to mention is maintenance is provided by Sesame Solar. So they are the manufacturers of the unit, and they are based out of Jackson, Michigan. So they are very local, which includes, so close proximity, they are excited to have a partner in their backyard. So we've had them out multiple times to be able to conduct staff trainings and be able to help us improve the unit and towards our goal of having it used in different use cases as well. And then I can share with Aaron if you're interested in learning more about Sesame Solar to the website prior to the meeting as well. Or sorry, following the meeting as well. Okay, so to give a little timeline of the unit's life here at NR, so the unit has a short but growing history since it joined the city. So on this slide, you're going to see a rundown of major events and or milestones that are accompanied by the unit. So in March 2024, City Council approved the purchase of the unit, but supply chain delays regarding some of the components pushed back the actual arrival of the unit till this year, June this year. So on June 18th, myself and some other staff members from OSI, we journeyed to Jackson and we received an initial training on the unit and were able to pick it up and bring it back into the city and into the city's fleet. And then between receiving the unit or in September 2025, so OSI staff and other relevant departments such as safety are trained to utilize the unit. So we had Sesame's field team out and they were able to ensure that we knew how to operate the system. So how to start up the solar, how to generate solar, how to utilize it, and also how to safely utilize the hydrogen, the cell storage system as well. Because on this unit, you do generate and hydrogen on board. So there is a large safety risk and you need to make sure that folks who are utilizing this unit are well trained and well equipped to understand the system. Also in September 25, the unit makes a community debut. So it makes its debut at the 2025 Green Fair. And Sesame Solar's field team joined us in hosting tours of the unit for community members. So they were able to hear from the manufacturer and ask questions like, for example, like, what is this? Like, what is a nanogrid versus a microgrid? And the ability to walk through all the different components that the unit offered. And then through our count, we estimated over 200 community members at this year's Green Fair attended and went through the unit and received a tour for the manufacturer. And they were also able to interact with OSI staff and talked about different use cases that we see the unit being used, which we'll get into in a moment. Yeah, so we got to host the unit at the Green Fair, and we also got to host to try to get a little bit of community involvement, a naming competition for the unit. So we received over 70 submissions, and the community members were asked to look at the unit, take in what it can do and what it can be utilized for, and put in a name that is, sort of community owned. And right now, OSI staff are in the process of deciding a winner and working on branding and associated communications with the winning name to be able to launch this community to the whole community next year. And the unit was also, if you're interested in learning more about the unit, was the spotlight of the September issue of our office's newsletter, The Charging Station. That was for the month of September 2025. So I know we're not at the unit in person, but tonight I wanted to give the commission a good of a visual view as possible, as well as the different components of the unit. So for this virtual photo tour, we'll start on the exterior and then make our way into the interior of the unit. So what we'll start with on this slide is you will see the curbside roadside solar doors. So these are, if you actually see and are in person for a raise, they don't raise outward, they raise up and then out. And these are part of where the solar panels are stored. So these solar doors are then faced to the sky using a hydraulic system and deployed. And that is when you can start generating solar once these doors are deployed. And as we move on to the next slide, it really gives a good demonstration of what those solar panels look like. So there's 4 solar doors that have generation capability as well as the rooftop generation as well. And let's see. So what's exciting is on this side, this is our curbside roadside. And what staff is excited about is that on this side, you can see like some different components that we're really excited to tap into from an engagement perspective. So you'll see that there's auxiliary components such as the ability to have 120 watt and 240 watt input and output plugs so that we can utilize, truly utilize the unit as a power system. And then we also have on the curbside, what you will see here highlighted on the bubble on the right is the hydrogen storage system. So once the hydrogen gas is made on board, it is put into these tanks and is formed into a solid state that is able to generate energy into the fuel cell and then therefore charge the batteries as well. And something that you'll note as well is on the left-hand side, you can see that there's a workstation. So staff are excited about the ability to host events utilizing the auxiliary components. So the visual audio, the workstation, we could imagine, you know, walking through community members about our local rebate program, having them sign up on the spot, assist with the ability to fill out the form. We could give an in-place tour of our urban tree walks and display our map of our 10,000 trees program and the effect that it's having on our community. So it's not just the power generation of this unit that makes it exciting, it really is the engagement potential as well. So what you'll see here is a front view of the unit. So this is the unit fully deployed, and it's hooked up with a mini split. So it does have heating and AC that can be utilized, you know, to cool and or heat. And on the right panel, you also see a sticker that gives to the community that is funded by the Community Climate Action Village as well. So on this next slide, what we'll see is a move into the interior. And you'll see that there's a curbside entrance. So this is where a two-step ladder or step will drop down. People will be able to enter the front from the unit. And on the far right side, what you will see is a long shot of the unit. So on the left, there will be the battery stack, which we'll get a view of in a second. And on the right, there are 4 drop-down stations. That's the HAP plug. So this can be utilized for community activity. You know, it can be in terms of needing to use this as some sort of mobile workstation. There is the capacity to activate that as well, because there also is Wi-Fi capabilities on board. And in the middle, which is a really cool component of the unit, is the hydrogen cabinet. So behind this cabinet, what you will see is a water tank as well as an electrolyzer. So you can put deionized water into this tank, and then it is processed. We are able to create hydrogen on board and then feed it into the tanks for later energy use. And what you'll see is there is lithium ion batteries on board. So there are 8 batteries within the stack, and they're stacked 2 on top of each other. And then we also have the control panel. So you'll see, Dave, this is our good friend from Sesame Solar. Our control panel is able to monitor, you know, our draw. So if we have different connections, hookups, we can see what we're pulling from the grid. We could see what we're solar producing, what we're using, and then, yeah, just the drawdown at the need at which we need to be able to recharge. Going on, some things that are inside the unit in addition to the power generation is that we also have a refrigerator on board. So we have some food provisioning and food storage capacity. There's an atmospheric water generator. So that allows us to, on humid days, to be able to create drinkable and cold water. And there's a hydrogen leak detector because when we're utilizing the hydrogen system, one of the safety procedures is to check that each valve in each tank is secure and safe so that there is no hydrogen leak, because there is a spark and flammable risk. And there's also a portable power station as well that we can use to draw power from and utilize in the event of power need. Okay, so getting through the tour of the units, on this slide, you'll see numbered use cases for our unit. So now these use cases are how, at this moment in time, OSI staff are working to utilize the unit. So these cases are ranked in most common use of the unit, anticipated use of the unit, to least. So the most common case use for the unit will be a deep engagement tool. So we see the possibility of this unit being able to be an on-ramp into sustainability and A20. So this case will be on our steady state, or what we like to say clear sky days, when there's not a disruption, when there's not a community event going on. We hope to be able to activate this in place to invite people in to experience sustainability, experience A20, and to understand how not just the why taking action on climate change matters, but the how as well. The second use case that staff is going to utilize, we will utilize the unit for, is a community decarbonization tool. So we see it as a way to support the power needs of community center events. And we'll go through some of those possible events the unit could be utilized at. And the third case, and it kind of is clear with, there's the power generation potential, but with the ability of the unit to be a reliable power source, there is the potential for the unit to serve as a disruption response tool. So staff are going to explore options to utilize the unit during disruption responses and as well as the efficacy of those deployments. So something that we have to be clear about, that our office is not an emergency response office and doesn't have emergency service qualifications or training. So this use case may be a few years out, and needing to be mindful that conversations with emergency service providers within the city and providers in our community need to be discussed before we take action on deployment. On these next couple of slides, we'll dive into those use cases. So when we consider disruption response, so we do have a use case that will require time to determine its efficacy. So how do we deploy, when to deploy, and by who, and how do we coordinate within internal city operations? One method that we see as a disruption response is deploying this unit to some of our critical care services at our Ann Arbor Resilience Hub. So this could be at any of our Resilience Hub, supplementing programs and services, supplementing power to their physical brick and mortar building so that services can continue in event of disruption. So that those services that folks rely on, whether it be food provisioning, after school programming, mental health services, don't have to be lessened or dissipate in the event of a disruption. We also see the unit being utilized as a community decarbonization tool to support community events, to enhance engagement, and to provide renewable energy for events powered needs. So we see this event potentially being used at events like A20 Week, Local Food Fest, Green Fair, and other community centered events that could be, and maybe at this time powered by fossil gas. There could be a reliable renewable energy source and suitable renewable energy source for those events as well. And the last case, which is what we see being the case 99% of the time, is a primary use case for the unit and focus of STAP is deep community engagement. So how can we physically get people to the unit to be able to engage with our myriads of different work plans? So whether that's circularity and understanding the impacts of textiles, it could be physically being able to engage with energy systems, being able to see what a solar battery looks like, among many other different options that we have to be able to customize the unit and use it for engagement. And one thing that I wanted to note that this summer, our office hosted a summer fellow from an organization called Redirect. And Redirect is an organization that helps build capacity for organizations, whether it be municipal sector, public sector, private sector, through a behavior change model called the Supportive Environment for Effectiveness, or the SEE model, SEE. And on the left is the guide that the fellows for their final deliverables supported. And this is the guide that will help staff activation of the unit in a way that is approachable for folks to access sustainability. And one thing I want to note about the SEE model, which also is displayed in the middle of the slide, is a model that is meant to step-by-step help practitioners build a floor and scaffold understanding. So imagine someone who is very new to learning about energy systems. The SEE model structure would help staff design an engagement activity, tool, program to help build that competency in a way where you're entering someone at a floor level and speaking directly to them rather than around them or above them. And then the last slide that we have for tonight is planning for 2026. So to give a little preview for the commission, this unit does take quite a bit to move. It takes a lot of coordination with internal staff departments. And one way that we hope to be able to have this unit in community spaces is through what we're calling residencies. So that would be the act of hosting the unit at a community-centered partner location or locations to be able to activate in place and utilize the unit's engagement potential. So it could be at one of our resilience hubs hosting one of our holiday neighborhood swaps. It could be utilizing and supporting their after-school programming or any of their critical care services, but to engage in sustainability in place and in a place where staff can easily activate it, not have to move this unit with such coordination back and forth. So potential locations could be Leslie Nature and Science Center before Earth Day. Those are some of the residencies that we are throwing around. And some key community sustainability events that we see it being at are, of course, Earth Day, A20 Week, and Local Food Fest, among others that we are still ideating on. So those are the plans for the unit in 2026 and the ones that we were actively working on to make happen early on in the new year. Okay, well, thank you again for the invitation to join the Sustainability Commission, give just a quick preview of the Sesame Solar unit and Ann Arbor's unit and how we plan to utilize this.
Does anybody have questions? How many of these engagement events are you planning on doing a week when you get started?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that will depend on our partner location as well. So some initial conversations with some of our Resilience Hub partners is they see the unit when it is in place, they want it to be able to activate for not only our programmings, but they want to be able to utilize it as well. So it'll be a cadence system that will be determined, I think, in collaboration with the partner. So like if there's a certain event, their frequency may change depending on like their need as well as our need. And that could potentially determine on weather as well.
Go ahead, Rita.
I thought I saw a mention of one of the fire stations as being what I would call, I guess, a host site for it. Is that correct? And is that like a place where it would stay for a period of time?
So originally, yeah, one of the conceptions of this unit was to be and serve as a potential backup power system for Fire Station 3. And I believe through investigations of that the electrical system in Fire Station 3 like is not paired appropriately or adequately to be able to be supported by the Sesame unit. But for example, that could potentially be a space where it is activated in place, you know, depending if there is a unit, a use case for engagement and long-term activation.
Is it possible for the new fire station that's being built on, is it Platt?
Yeah, the net zero fire station. That's a really great question. I can follow up. I don't know that off the top of my head, but I can make sure to follow up with that. I don't know if the connection systems are right for this particular unit.
Okay, thanks.
Councilmember Malik?
Hi, thank you so much for that presentation. I think this is a really exciting thing that's, kind of outside of the box in terms of approaching the various climate obstacles we have. I was curious if you knew if any other communities had something similar or are thinking of doing anything similar. And then, based on that, have any other communities reached out to us? Is like, interest in like touring it or anything like that?
Yeah, thanks so much for the question. I think the thing that's exciting is, and what even the manufacturer Sesame Solar is really excited about is like we are one of the first, if not the first unit to be able to purchase this specifically for some of our use cases, like as a living learning lab to onboard folks to sustainability, to be a community-centered decarbonization tool. I believe they have one other municipality who has purchased it, and like that was like their intention. But from what I understand in conversations with Sesame is that particular municipality has not activated their unit very much to the degree that we have already in terms of like getting it out into the community and the plans that we have to in the future. So to answer your question, I think we are very much on like the tip of a spear to be like leading what kind of deep community engagement can come from, an asset such as this.
Great, thank you.
So for the resilience hubs, thinking about disruption response, are they capable of receiving power from this? Do the facilities have that capability, or has anybody looked at that yet?
So as of now, they probably would not be able to, but we are talking with some of our resilience hubs to make modifications to potentially be able to receive input unit power from the unit. But the unit could still be used like in those cases on sites to be able to supplement services if needed.
Sure. Commissioner Mitchell?
Can you give a sense of like if it's fully charged and ready to go, what's the capability? What do you expect it to be able to support?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think the question will largely depend on context. So it could be the level of disruption or level of power draw that is needed. It could be the weather that is outside that affects the drain of the battery. If it's really cold outside, and we also need to use the mini split to heat people who are, providing support outside of the unit. That is a big draw on the battery, and we just don't know the limitations on some of the draw. We could do, back of the napkin math. You take kilowatt hours and then times it by like, the device, the draw that device and or system. Oh, I'm still at City Hall, so it looks like I just went in the dark. Sorry. The draw that a item or place takes, and do a simple time calculation. But one thing that we have talked about internally on the subcommittee that works on this is doing limit testing as well. So taking things like a EV vehicle and seeing how long the battery draws, or running all the components on the unit like with a full charge, with it's like a sunny day, deploying it, and then just running thing to the max and seeing what that does to the battery, just so that we have a scope and understanding of the different trials and tribulations that it can take.
Is that information or something like that available from the manufacturer?
Sure. I mean, what you could provide is I can give double check that our specs manual doesn't have any of the sensitive information on it, and see if I can send it over to the commission. But it will have the specs of what kilowatt hours the batteries have, like what storage capacities do the battery have, and then you can essentially just weigh that on the draw that would be coming, and you'd have a rough estimation of the time that you would be able to power a certain item or building or anything else.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? Have you thought about taking it to the farmer's market? Or is that too hard to get into and out of each once a week?
Yeah, that's going to be a good question to see if we can get it for fit. We were attempting to have it at the local food festival this year, but with the parking lot construction and the cooking demonstration, which did have a risk of open flame and spark, at that time we had not got like the proper hydrogen placarding, and we didn't want to have it in a space and risk that, put that out there. And yeah, it just wasn't, it's a very large unit. It's like 20, I think it's like 30 by 8. So finding a spot to be able to permanently place it was going to be possible following the completion of the parking lot remodel.
Okay.
I'll just jump in.
Yeah, go ahead.
What is the truck like that pulls this? Is it an electric truck? Are we keeping it all electric, or what?
Unfortunately, no. At this time, our electric fleet does not have the capacity to safely tow this unit as well.
Commissioner Peck.
If you were to get a Lightning and hook it up to this thing, how far could you go? If you utilized it to power the Lightning as you went.
I think that the towing weight of a Lightning, the unit already outweighs that as well, the maximum load. And also what is needed as well is we've seen this thing can really make a vehicle squat. So you need really good suspension and strong suspension in your car, or it will be like dragging the unit along the ground. So you also need to consider the safety of the unit as well.
And also, speaking from an automotive background, it's pretty easy to get big, heavy loads moving. The hard part's when you try and stop.
Yeah, grades are hard with that
unit. The car. Your brakes won't hold. Really bad things happen. Councilmember Cornell.
Bryce, what an awesome presentation. Great job. Great work, OSI, all around. You answered some of my technical questions. So my question is, you did a public competition to name this bad boy. Have you chosen a winner yet?
We have not chosen a winner yet, so I can't give any of the finalists away, but we've narrowed it down, and staff will go through the process of selecting and going around branding and exciting communication to be able to, make this trailer that is kind of obtuse and nebulous, like a little bit more inviting, a little bit more, fun. Like, I don't think we're going to put googly eyes on it, but at least make it a little bit more inviting and approachable for folks as well. And we also hope that is recognized that is the role of staff as well. So like when we have it in place, how are we using like the ability to have auxiliary audio and video and power to bring folks in? Like the unit, as we saw in Green Fair, has a lot of gravity, but we can dangle a few more carrots to get folks in as well, and help them on board into sustainability and whatever that way that means for them.
I think OSI does, I mean, not to pick a favorite child, but I think that you guys do a really great job with marketing, your communications, getting people really excited about the initiatives that you're doing. And I'm so happy to hear that you're going to sort of continue that as like a fun and interesting way to get people excited about that work. It's important work. Thanks.
Yeah. And something that we're considering doing is, we want it, when we say like living learning lab, we want it to be like activated, like when it's in place, like people are seeing that the solar is being active, they're able to, right now the batteries are covered like with wood paneling. We're going to ask the manufacturer to give us a quote to make some of that like transparent so that folks can like literally walk up and see, okay, like that is like physically what a solar battery is, right? And hopefully that is some of the other installations and work that we can do around turning it into a living learning lab, like when it is in those engagement purposes, can really demystify a lot of things and work, and the thought that sustainability at different levels is inaccessible, and hopefully we can make hopefully we can be the onboarding for those people to be inspired, learn, engage with their community.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Another question. I know that the cost was something like in excess of $300,000. Can you talk also about the maintenance required, the cost, and what is maintenance on this?
Yeah, that's great. So I think I'll share a little bit of a tidbit that Sesame Solar has given us. So they produce units in different forms. So some of them can be in trailers such as ours. Others are like in shipping container versions. And they have a unit that is in, I believe, an island nation, I want to say Puerto Rico. And it has been running, I want to say nonstop for 3 to 4 years. And Sesame has been contacting the place and organization who purchased those. Like, do you need us to come out and perform maintenance services, like check on the system, make sure that it's working effectively? And they have denied service every time just because it is operating at such a high level. So we feel fairly confident in the ability for this unit to be able to maintain like a long lifespan, especially if we take care of it. So now to answer your question, there are maintenance costs associated with, and Sesame is the vendor that performs those maintenance costs. And I can get you those exact numbers, but upon purchasing the unit, there was also maintenance dedicated maintenance time and staff time of Sesame that was included in the purchase. That is quarterly maintenance. And to really find out what that maintenance is we haven't had to call it in yet, but what is checking on all the systems. So making the solar system and checking on the solar systems, making sure it's running appropriately. Same thing with the hydrogen, it's running those systems and making sure that they are running up to snuff and their standards, among of checking, the structure of the unit as well, like making sure that it is safe to be transported and axles are in working order. And there's probably other things that they will cover in much detail when they come on site as well.
Thanks.
Commissioner Smith?
Yeah, thanks for such a great presentation. This is such a cool piece of technology. I was wondering if OSI has any plans to partner with any of the schools, especially like robotics teams or science Olympiad, to kind of inspire the younger generation to pursue careers in like sustainable technology and, green jobs and such, like, careers like that.
Yeah, thanks for the comment. And I think I'm in the easy, thanks for teaming up. I think I'm in the easy portion of saying like it's a yes and situation right now. It's like, yes, like let's talk about like what that means to have it on site and to maximize the unit's capability to be an engagement tool. So I get to say the yes and, which is always fun.
Who has the next question? Go ahead.
Yeah, I wonder if sort of following that up, a good thing for the city might be to think about whether or not you can just rent it, not for business, use or anything, but for educational purposes. Following up on Olivia's suggestion, I think it'd be wonderful to have it on campus to show people. But I also think, maybe I'm being too generous here, it would be probably reasonable for people to chip in for that large cost, like $500 or something to have it for an event. I don't know. Be worth checking out.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, Commissioner Rebecca. I would say, like, what I'm hearing you saying is, how can community members, organizations, or other people tap in and utilize, this in the different use cases that it is? And that's a great question on what is not determined is like how that can happen, but I think that's a really interesting question to pose. And something that, we've considered is how do we get it out into the community and what are the vehicles in which it arrives that way?
Yeah, because I think, as a public purchase, I could also imagine various NGO, nonprofits in the city, including the University of Michigan, then could ask to bring it on campus for an event or bring it over to a fundraiser for the Ecology Center, things like that. And maybe it would be reasonable. Either you can do that for free or maybe there's a small charge. In the end, you recoup some of the 300,000. Thanks.
Commissioner Mitchell?
I just want to make sure I understand one thing about like the use. So when you said that it doesn't, it's not compatible with the fire stations. Does that mean it's not compatible to power them? But I could walk up to it with my charging cable for my computer and plug in, and it would work standalone from the building. Is that the way to
Yeah.
think of it?
Oh, 100%. It is fully able to operate and charge off grid, and it does have like the ability, it has like an outlet you would see in your home along the inside, along the outside. So when you saw that little like workstation there, you could plug in a laptop and HDMI cord to the screen that is there and show a presentation, essentially host an engagement event outside. So you can walk up and, you just have to go to the circuit breaker, inside and you just flip that the outlets are on and then you're able to charge through those outlets.
So I'm just thinking of like the resilience needs, like in the case of a power outage. So you couldn't power the building, but people could come up to it and use it as itself.
Yeah, and I'll
So-
try to be non-specific because I'm not an electrical engineer, as there are modifications that can be done to buildings. It just the building has to be able to receive that load, and there has to be a proper connection point. So it can power buildings. It just it needs an appropriate receiving end.
Okay.
But
Like
yeah, you
if
could just walk up and charge your phone if you wanted to.
Right. But if you buy a generator for your house, you don't just go plug it into your wall outlet, because then if the power comes back on, you're going to overcurrent your house and you can burn things down. There's electricians that get paid good money to hook up generators correctly. And this sounds like you would want that type of connection if you wanted to be able to plug this in. Most houses wouldn't have that.
Yeah, the restoration of power would be a big concern, making sure that we're not hurting the buildings that we're trying to help.
Yeah, but resilience hubs might be a case where that could be done because it makes sense there. Set them up like they have generators. This is like a portable generator. Commissioner Berkowitz?
Continuing along with that line of thought and what Commissioner Overpeck mentioned about maybe like being able to generate revenue for the use of this. Something I was thinking about is I don't think we really have policy that enables this in Michigan yet, but there's a lot of discussion about vehicle to grid dynamics. Like if you've got an electric car during peak, energy use times, you can feed energy from your car back into the grid, and then the utility will hopefully a fair rate for that. Maybe this isn't now, but at some point in the future, like you could see like while it's not, at an event, it's just kind of like sitting. You could potentially, just be creating revenue to offset the cost of this or to support other programs or your staff by like letting it sit there and feed some of the solar power directly back into the grid. And I'll also just say you answered all of my other questions. Great job. This is so cool and innovative, and I love it.
Who's got the next question?
I don't think I have a question, but this is just an example of the type of thing that makes me feel good about being in Ann Arbor when I know that, the need for more resiliency is only going to increase. And so knowing that this is the type of thing that we are putting our efforts towards, I think just makes, as a resident, makes me feel good about the decision to be here. So great project, great presentation of it. Thank you.
Well, I think that's it, Bryce. Thank you very much. You did a great job. It was a wonderful presentation. Looks like you've exhausted all the questions.
Yeah, well, if there's any more, Erin is happy to give my information and happy to answer any more questions as I can. If there's any questions I was not able to answer tonight, please follow up with me and I'll be able to get those to you. So again, thank you all for your commitment to service, and thank you all for with the invitation tonight. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your evening.
Thanks. So next on the agenda, we have work group updates. First was building decarbonization. Anybody hear about a meeting last month? I didn't hear about one. So. No, okay. Circular economy. I think they had a meeting. Who would like to talk? Do we have a chair for that work group?
Man, we elected a spokesperson and now I don't remember who it was. It definitely was not me.
Oh, is circular economy the same thing as returnable containers?
Yes, yes.
That would be me.
Thanks, Olivia.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah, we had our first meeting a few weeks ago. We met with Genevieve from OSI and kind of got the lay of the land for the returnable containers program. And she talked about some of her, goals and visions for this work group. And so Genevieve and I are working on an agenda right now with some actionable items, and we have our next meeting right after Thanksgiving. So hopefully we're gonna hit the ground running on this one and see if we can revive this program.
And is this the program where we're looking at like returnable cups from all the restaurants and returnable food from things like for takeout food?
Yes. It's the one that they piloted a few years ago. And I guess they got funding last winter, then, the political state changed, they lost funding. And so I think a big focus of this group is going to be funding and imagining what funding could look like for this program and how to kind of get it off the ground.
Does anybody have questions on the topic? I know it's very preliminary. Okay, next is the environmental services framework which is still on hold. So then with sidewalk gap filling, that's Rita. I got that one.
Yeah, we met yesterday for our second meeting with representatives from the Transportation Commission as well as a city engineer, and talked about how to communicate with respect to the sidewalk gap closing process, which I think has improved over time. And so we're working on a statement that Erin has drafted that will ultimately, excuse me, support both closing sidewalk gaps to improve transportation, non-motorized transportation and accessibility, and supporting retaining trees, in particular mature trees. So we're working on that as just a communication tool. Open for comments from you, Brooks and Erin.
I thought it was a good working meeting. I think there's definitely more work to be done. I think it's difficult sometimes trying to wordsmith documents in a meeting. So getting it set up so we can do some of that offline, I think, and iterate back and forth will, I think, speed things up quite a bit. But I thought, having like Nick, was it Hutchinson from the city engineer's office was very beneficial to discuss what they're seeing and what they're doing and why. And I think that helps quite a bit.
Mhm. Right, and I'm also looking forward to having the input from the engagement staff, who was not available this past time, but I think that would be helpful in terms of communication with the community on these projects as they move forward. So that's it. We're going to meet again.
Any other questions? Any questions at all on that one? Next was water quality with chlorides, and I know Sarah's not here yet. Was anybody else? Was there a work group meeting last month?
There was. We had our kickoff meeting, I believe, yes, we did have our kickoff meeting at the end of October. So we are partnering with some folks from the city stormwater team on that working group, a rep from the University of Michigan Stormwater, and someone from the Watershed Council. And so we kind of started reviewing some of the data. We know we have high chlorides in 3 of our tributaries, so Mallett's, Swift, and Miller's Creek, and we sort of started the process of talking about potential ways to do some source identification. We know those are developed watersheds, and we talked about maybe there's some tools we could use within the city to build upon. The Watershed Council, for example, has a really cool tool called Discover Our Creek Shed, and you can like play around with like different impervious, like which watersheds have which percentage impervious surface. And we talked about potentially building on that with some GIS tools. What other things did we talk about? We are going to look into kind of what other regions and states are doing that already maybe have numeric limitations for chloride. The city, we don't yet, the state of Michigan doesn't yet, but we know they're probably coming. Or we do, but they're not, I guess, being enforced at this point. And so some suggestions were places like Chesapeake Bay, Minnesota, Wisconsin, were some suggestions. So some folks will be looking into that. And then, yeah, I think we have our next meeting set for sometime in December. The exact date is escaping me, but it was a good kickoff meeting.
Good. Any questions or comments on that? All right. Next on the agenda was staff updates.
Okay.
Erin, you want to share what you pulled together and sent out?
Yes. Okay, can you all see that? Get a little bigger.
Yeah, it's there.
So folks that haven't seen yet, we at the city launched an open data portal. And so it was an effort we kind of had like data and maps kind of spread across different website and departments. And so now it's all in one place and at the data portal. And I'm going to open that up. Yeah, I'll open it up right now. Did that follow me, or is it still on my staff update?
Still on your staff updates.
Okay. Let me reshare with the data portal. Okay. Okay, now are you seeing the data portal?
Yes.
So you can explore by category. So if I click on environment, it opens up everything that's tagged environment. A lot of these have multiple tags, which is kind of fun because if you are searching for one particular map or tool, you might come across a different thing that looks interesting. So there's, street trees, we track rainfall, there's the greenbelt area. Oh, that is the data set. I do want to open our Greenbelt map, which is my next update, which is the Blue Belt. The city just launched or is open for applications for our Blue Belt program, which was just, I think the framework was just finalized back in September by the Greenbelt Commission. And so this is a program similar to the Greenbelt, but it is specific for source water protection. And so I'm going to switch the base map because it's a little hard to see. So here's the Greenbelt boundary here, and you can see in green, and then in blue is the actual Blue Belt. So you can see it extends a lot further, kind of upstream of, our water source on the Huron River is about right here. So it's a very large area kind of upstream of our source water. So that program is officially open to applications. That'll be interesting to see what comes out of that program. I don't know a ton about that other than I wanted to show you the boundary, but I'm happy to relay any questions on that if folks have questions on the Blue Belt. Okay, so going back to my update really quick. Updates from OSI. So they did launch we've been collecting air quality for a while, but there is a new map displaying air quality information. And you can access that at that link. And it shows you air quality within the city, and then you can kind of see if its air quality is healthy or unhealthy, and it'll color code it based on the healthiness of the air quality across the city. Business rebates for electric leaf blowers have been extended until September 30th, 2026, which is great. There's an update about the first all-electric patrol vehicle that is on the road. So Ann Arbor Police Department is Michigan's first electric patrol, which is now on the road, which is very exciting. There's an interesting movie coming up tomorrow at 7 o'clock at State Theater, which is free. And it is called, where's the title?
All Too Clear.
All Too Clear. Thank you.
And it's sold out, by the way.
Oh, it is sold out. I heard an interview with the filmmakers a few weeks ago. It sounds really interesting, really important video. And then a special edition holiday gift swap, November 20th at City Hall from 4 to 7. And then one update from Public Service says we did get 702 attendees at the Public Works Open House, which was great. So the open house also showcased the debut of the all-electric refuse trucks, which was really cool. And that is all I have for my staff updates. Thank you.
Erin, did you say that the gift swap was at City Hall? I'm sorry, you scrolled before I could finish writing it.
Yes, at City Hall.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any questions for Erin on those? Besides the movie you can't go see because it's sold out.
Well, I was planning to go, but I guess I'm not planning to go anymore.
It does say to get your tickets in advance, and it says sold out. So, so next on the agenda is public comment. We allow 3 minutes per speaker. We don't respond in the moment to speakers. We do appreciate you taking the time to comment. Please call 877-853-5247 or 888-788-0099 and enter meeting ID 988-7619-2402. To raise your hand, press 9. To unmute, press *6. City staff will select callers who have raised their hand one by one using the last 3 digits of your phone number. Do we have any callers, Erin?
No callers at this time.
Okay. For our next month agenda, we have Jason Bing from the Ann Arbor Public Schools coming to talk about the Net Zero Ready Schools and the AAPS sustainability initiatives. If anybody else has any other topics they want discussed, please let us know. That's what's on the docket right now. Anybody want to say anything before we adjourn? Is there a motion to adjourn? Okay, Councilmember Malik.
Hey, sure. I was just going to mention, it would have been, I think, the first week of November, I attended the Michigan Sustainability Conference in Grand Rapids. And I bring this up only to say, around lunchtime at the conference, they announced the Michigan Communities Challenge, Michigan Green Communities Challenge. I think previously Ann Arbor has won the gold certification at this. It's kind of an annual award. And this year, they actually created a new tier above gold called Platinum and awarded that to Ann Arbor and the city of Grand Rapids. So that was really neat to see. They laid out all the criteria and how points are awarded and stuff like that. So it was just really neat to see that. I'm sure the city will have maybe an announcement about it, if maybe they have already and I just missed it, but thought I'd bring that up because it's probably thanks to a lot of work that this commission and the previous environmental and energy commissions have done.
I haven't heard about it, so that's good to know. Anybody else want to make a comment? Is there a motion to adjourn? There's one. Seconded by. There we go. We got two. All right, we're adjourned. Shouldn't be so hard.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy
Bye.
Thanksgiving. Bye.
Thanks all.